We're going to extract the chlorophyll out of this parsley and use that as a really intense parsley puree to go through pasta, to go through mashed potato, and go through a lovely sauce champagne. This is what I thought was molecular gastronomy at the time. It felt so advanced and so clever, but actually it's very simple. This is how you extract the chlorophyll from beautiful parsley. Okay, all we need for this recipe is lovely curly parsley. You can use flat, but it's not as effective. Nice curly parsley, really powerful blender. It needs to be a flask blender. That's just plain cold water in there. All this parsley's been picked of the huge stalks, and we're just going to cram that in basically. We're going to turn that up full speed and blend that into a really fine puree. So all that parsley chlorophyll can get extracted out of the parsley. Here we go. That's had a long blend. That comes off. Lid comes off. That now gets passed through a chinois, fine chinois. Has to be quite fine, that sieve, to go through. Like that. And we're basically extracting all the water from that. Passing away all that thick parsley part and just left with the water that's underneath. That goes into a pan and comes up to a very slow simmer. What we're trying to do is separate the water from the particles of chlorophyll that are in the parsley. This is a weird thing. It's one of those products that you end up making that actually is not that completely pleasant to eat as it is. It really needs to be blended with something else to get the full effect. It's really strong and potent, but it is a very clever little thing that you can use to make pasta green and flavorful. You can pop it into nice fish sauces and make it parsley green and flavorful too. And we also use it for mashed potato to make a really lovely parsley mashed potato, which is something I used to make at the Square with the brilliant Phil Howard. This is back in the 80s or something. So in that goes. I'm going to give that a little stir and just let that come up to a boil very gently and let all that foam come away. What will happen is this will eventually split out almost like a pond, and you can see like the weed on the top separated out. So just let that happen nice and slowly, let it come up, and it will naturally just split out. I guess in some ways it's sort of got that essence of making a consomme to it. When I first ever saw this, I just thought it was like witchcraft. And I guess that's how people felt when molecular gastronomy came along and all those really clever whizzy things happened with food. I didn't really embrace much of that, but this one I've been making since 1989. Okay, if you come in close, Sam, you can see this now. If I just break that open, you see that now? See a completely clear water underneath, and all the chlorophyll is now kind of separating out, and that's basically cooked all the pigment out. Can you see the clear water underneath there? Okay, what needs to happen is that needs to get poured over a bowl with a colander and a muslin cloth and ice. And the reason for that is that ice is going to immediately chill down our chlorophyll and stop it discolouring and keep that nice green colour. So all that just goes through like that. Discard what's left in that bowl and just let that hang through. We will probably leave that generally overnight to let that happen. And basically, but if I do this, you can sort of see the chlorophyll starting to stick to the muslin cloth, and that's the stuff that we want, all this beautiful green puree that stays here. And after about an hour, but certainly by overnight, this will be completely dry just with the green puree, and we can scrape that out, and that's our chlorophyll. That's all the pigment of the parsley, and underneath this, what you'll see is completely clear water. So we basically extracted by heat, we've extracted all the green pigment out of that parsley. Leave that, don't force it through, let that happen overnight and it will dry out, and you want it to be quite dry. Take some of my chlorophyll into the mashed potato. You don't need too much. You just work it in really nicely. And that's where this thing really comes to life, because you end up with that wonderful green parsley flavour in the mashed potato. That's it, work that parsley in, nice green puree. Makes quite a dry mash as well. It's quite nice really. Lovely. Used to serve this at the Square with cod and buttered carrots. An absolute legendary dish that was at the Square. Parsley mashed potato. Lovely in this, lovely also in pasta dough, when you put the flour in the pasta dough. Delicious. And you just get that back hit of parsley in there as well. So fantastic, very, very vegetal. I love it. And you can colour sauces with it as well. Not adding parsley flavour, but without adding liquid, which is a really nice way of doing it. And if you make a traditional parsley puree, it just doesn't have the intensity of this. So this is a very special thing. It feels quite molecular, but it's older than the hills, like me. Don't eat that. God.